Hey everybody, ChristopherOdd here. What you're about to watch was actually cut from my first Let's Play video to be a separate character creation video because I'm going to show you the whole process of how I created my kind of slightly odd looking character. So, this is going to be pretty detailed. There's lots of stuff that we cover off. I'm going to go through a lot of the finer details. But it was something I wanted to keep separate because not everyone's into this kind of thing and I understand that. So if you are into it, here it is. For the class, I've thought a lot about this. You've got the warrior. You can see all the attributes at the bottom. So maybe first of all, let's cover that off. We've got the overall level. So you consume your souls just like in Dark Souls to level up. You've got your strength, which acts as your primary attribute for strength weapons. You've got vigor now, which just determines your HP. You've got dexterity, which obviously is focused on your dexterity weapons and also boosts the attack for the dexterity weapons. You've got endurance, which is an attribute that determines your overall stamina. This does not have a direct impact on your burden anymore, the equipment load. There's a whole separate stat for that. Adaptability, this is new, so it raises various attributes to ensure one's survival. Boosts agility and various resistances. I was originally thinking that this might be one to really focus on, just to get your defenses up and a whole bunch of other things, but I'm not sure. There's so many different options now. Vitality, an attribute that determines your maximum equipment load. So this is no longer tied to endurance. And as far as I can tell, fast, medium, and slow rolling were completely different, in the sense that I have not I've not slow rolled once in the first like 20 minutes. That's the only area that I've played of the game, but I've tried to maximize as much as I can put on my character, and I still won't slow roll, so something's obviously different in Dark Souls 2. Intelligence attribute required for sorceries, boosts magic defense and proficiency in sorceries. Attunement attribute governing number of spells that can be attuned, boosts spellcasting speed. And then Faith, attribute required for miracles, boosts lightning defense and proficiency in miracles. So with that, I've decided that most likely I'm probably going to pick the Knight. I like that he's got a high HP to start with. His adaptability is decent. He's also got kind of a balance between strength and dexterity, which my character in Dark Souls 1 kind of had. Now, I will probably specialize a little bit more than I did previously in Dark Souls. And I'm still not sure which way we're gonna go, but it'll depend on kind of some of the weapons that we find. But just so that you guys know, you also do have a warrior, and not only do the starting stats change, but the starting weapons and the starting shields and items all change. So you do have a swordsman here who has dual wielding weapons right off the bat. You've got a bandit, you've got a cleric, you've got a sorcerer, you've got an explorer, and you've got deprived. Now, what's interesting is I can't figure out a way to actually see what these specific weapons are that each of them start with, and like, see, this guy has a ring, you can't really check that out. But regardless, I am going to pick a knight because I like the starting attributes. And for the gift, we've got nothing. We've got a life ring, which gives HP. We've got another effigy, which returns the hollowed to life, which is essentially just happened to us. We've got healing ware, so a whole bunch of different healing items. A homeward bone, which takes us back to the last bonfire that we rested at. The seed of a tree of giants. All this says is it's a seed grown from a tree of giants. It's inedible. But what this actually does is if you get invaded by somebody, which happens, I guess, quite a bit more in Dark Souls 2, the surrounding enemies will actually attack him. So he's no longer just this, like, invisible thing that can come in and just ruin you. He actually has to fend off other enemies and stuff, too. Bonfire acidic, toss into a bonfire to raise the strength of nearby foes. So if you want to make the game more difficult, you can take this, and at any bonfire that you burn it at, enemies around that bonfire will be a lot more difficult. And here's the one I'm gonna pick. This is Petrified Something, a simple petrified lump. It may be of some use someday. We don't know how it plays in, there's no other description other than that, but for me, I think all the others are consumables that we'll probably find throughout the world, but this is something that's special, something that will come up down the road, and maybe it won't. Maybe it'll just be a nothing, but I have to pick it because it's got me totally enthralled in what it could possibly be. So, from this point, I'm going to do the rest of my character customization. In terms of body, I am actually going to play as a female character because I think that they've done this really well. It's not like stereotypical. You can kind of build whatever you want, which I think is cool. I am going to go for a little bit of a slender build. Physique-wise, you can go like crazy, weird, ripped, or not so much. I'm going to go with the not so much option. I'm going to skip this face section and go right to advanced settings because advanced settings takes care of everything that's in the face area except for, actually, the homeland. And I am going to pick the most pale homeland that I can. I think it should be this one. There we go. Because I really want to build like a pale type of character. So we're going to go pretty young, I think. Not too young. Hormones, we are going to move a little bit more to the feminine side. Not all the way, but that looks pretty good. Form emphasis, weak or strong. This is just kind of... Some of these are really bizarre. Color emphasis, weak or strong. You can make things look really, really weird if you really want to. But I have a pretty good idea of what we're gonna do. So we're gonna go more pale, that's for sure. Almost white is what we're going for, like stark white. Here we go. This is where we're getting into it here. Not too much, but I definitely want it to be like, is that human or is that not? That kind of look. That looks good, and that looks good. Okay. The cheek color, we're gonna move more to white. Laugh lines, we don't really want those emphasized very much. For the hair, I'm gonna go with this option. I think it looks really cool and it's really different. The others are all kind of like... They're all like, look like they're going to dinner parties or something. So I'm gonna go with this one. Looks like more of a warrior. And then what we're gonna do is go to white. You can pick any color with the RGB sliders. It's red, green, blue at the bottom. But I'm gonna go white because I really think that looks cool. Okay. The shape, let's see, is there anything in here I want to do? We'll just maybe go... a little bit sharper, there we go. You can go and customize all this stuff, but I spent more time in here than I care to admit. But I think I've kind of got things figured out the way I want. Let's go there. And then you can give her a little bit more of a focused look. These slight adjustments in eyebrows can give your character a totally different appearance. And we're not gonna go the same white, but we are gonna go like... We're gonna go between where it is, where the hair is, and where this starts. So something like that looks about right. Eyes, we're gonna go down. I like the shape, although we might slant them just a little bit. We are gonna go with green eyes. Let's make them a little larger. This can get pretty extreme if you're not careful. That looks pretty good. Okay. And then, in terms of eyeshadow, because the rest of her skin is so light, I am going to throw some of this stuff on just to make the eyes pop. This probably sounds crazy, but I spent a lot of time in here, and I figured out exactly what I wanted to build. You can literally build anything from like a red demon to like anything you want. Anything that your imagination will let you think of, you can absolutely do. I don't want her to look like, you know, like a trashy... anything, but I do just want the eyes to pop a little bit more. We kind of want to border on like, is that human or is that kind of surreal, or what's the scenario there? The nose is fine to me. The mouth could be changed a bit. There's one thing I think it's fullness. I'm pretty convinced that some of these sliders are incorrect. It might be lip size. I think it's lip size. That affects, like... Yeah, see, look. Lip size, if you go large, it's smiling, and if you go small, it's frowning. Okay, but it's not actually changing lip size that much. But, if you go into mouth 2 and you go expression, then you're affecting the lip size. Like, look at how big that is, compared to then going really small. And you could argue that maybe it looks cheery and glum, but it's clearly switched with the other one, which I think is kind of interesting. And I don't want super cheery, but I don't want, like... I just want kind of like a hint of, like... Don't mess with me. And then the outline of the jaw, you can go really thick, but I don't like that as much. We're gonna go pretty thin. Well, might be a good spot to start. Now this tattoo, I do want a tattoo. You can put anything on that you want, but I'm gonna go with this little dragon. This phoenix this is kinda cool too, but I think the dragon works well for the spot that I'm gonna put it in. And we're not gonna use a really dark color, it's not even gonna be super obvious that it's there. Gonna drop the opacity. Gonna move it over a bit. I think that's about right. We gotta make it a bit smaller. And I think that's what we want. Is that right? It's close. There we go. That's what we want, right there. I like that. We can bump up the opacity a bit, but I just want it to kind of be like, not so much as a tattoo, but more of a scar. Could throw a little color in there. Actually, the brown, that looks kind of cool, actually. The black could work with a lower opacity. That could work. Let's go even lighter. Alright, I think we're pretty much set. This is the outlook that I wanted to have. But I spent a lot of time in here to make that happen, and I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's cool. You gotta, for me anyways, if you're gonna be looking at this character for the next 50 hours, I want it to look cool. Because I don't think we can change it down the road. So, there she is. Pretty cool. Odd. And it's a knight with petrified something. And, that's it. So, if you're watching this as a separate video, then, I'll put an annotation on here now, so that you can go back to the Let's Play and pick up from the, gameplay part. But, otherwise, that was just my character creation, so thanks for watching.